Hello, Stargazers. Bryan Colter here, Evolutionary Astrologer, for your horoscope report for the upcoming Taurus full moon that happens right on Halloween, actually. And this is a really charged full moon, even supercharged, because for a variety of reasons. But the first thing I noticed right away is that this full moon is very special. You've heard the phrase once in a blue moon? Okay, this is a blue moon. It happens only about once every 2.5 years, and it's when we have 2 full moons in the same month. And, of course, it's happening on Halloween, which is pretty interesting. Not only that, this year, 2020, I've been calling the Great Awakening, where we're kind of getting snapped out of our slumber as we see the insanity unfold around us. And really the evolutionary intention of the growing pains that we've been experiencing in 2020 is to grow beyond that, to mature, to become wiser, to evolve in a way that's more in alignment with our optimal trajectory, more in alignment with a more balanced lifestyle amongst ourselves and with Earth and the expansion of technology. I'll say some more about that a little bit later, but that's the old paradigms of control need to fall apart to make way for the new. Okay, so that's what's happening 2020. Backdrop, things are falling apart. We're seeing the insanity of it as it comes apart at the seams. Amidst this 2020, I've pinpointed September and October to be the 2 juiciest months of a very juicy year. And here we're hitting the very end, the last hurrah, the great crescendo apex of energy that is this blue moon. And I misspoke there. I said bull, and it is in the sign of Taurus, the sign of the bull. And we'll say some more things about that. Now, not only that, we also have the planet Uranus is in a near exact what's called conjunction with the full moon itself. Basically, they're almost perfectly aligned in the sky. They're only 3 minutes of arc apart from each other, just a tiny little hair. And from the viewpoint of astrologers, the closer the conjunction is, the more powerful it is. So this one is juicy, okay? So we're going to have to understand Uranus energy, the Taurus energy, the full moon itself, and then all these other planets interacting, which are in cardinal signs. So let's just start there. Cardinal signs. We got 10 things we're calling planets here. 6 of the 10 are in cardinal signs. We have 3 planets in Capricorn. And of those 3 planets, we have Saturn. Saturn rules Capricorn. So it's almost like we got 4 votes for Capricorn there, just because whenever a planet's in its own sign, it's effectively really strong. Okay. And then we have 2 planets in Libra, another cardinal sign. And then of those 2 planets in Libra, we have Venus, the ruler of Libra. Again, really strong Venus. Well, Venus also rules Taurus. So Venus is very important here in terms of the core evolutionary intention. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we have Mars in Aries, the last cardinal sign we're working with here. And Mars rules Aries. So of the 3 different cardinal signs we're working with, they each have the planetary ruler lighting up each of them. So this is so charged, so juicy with cardinal energy. And cardinal people, like, for example, who have a lot of cardinal energy in their chart, a lot of these signs in their birth chart, tend to be more about self-initiation, action-oriented. They tend to be very determined, moving forward, typically a more extroverted, outrushing power of energy. Almost like kind of, I guess you could say male energy, or I guess more accurately, yang energy. It's dynamic. It's assertive, okay? So this energy is on high. It's kinetic. It's even electric, as we'll see with Uranus in the mix as well. Now, Uranus and Taurus, next to the moon in Taurus, Uranus and Taurus are just very, very different energies. They don't get along too well, naturally. So Uranus is the planet of earthquakes and lightning bolts. That's the main archetype. The god of earthquakes and lightning bolts. It's electric, as I said. It's disruptive. It likes to shake things up. And Taurus it's an earth sign. It likes things stable. likes to keep both feet on the ground, one foot in front of the other, likes simplicity, solidarity, responsibility. There's kind of a first things first, chicken soup wisdom. Let's just keep plodding along. And of course, Taurus people can accomplish a lot with that method, and it's totally appropriate to them. But Uranus says, the hell with all that. Let's just lightning bolt into action, okay? Let's disrupt things. Let's disrupt the status quo. And Taurus is like, I'm kind of cool with the status quo. Let's not be too crazy here. So we'll try to reconcile these energies a little bit later, but let's just first recognize the tension between these two energies. So I guess trying to stay stable in what feels like a very unstable and insecure environment is kind of the moral of the tale here. There'll be more to say about that. Now, all the cardinal energy, okay, all that yang energy pushing out. Okay. Now, let's take a quick little understanding about the full moon itself. Okay, not taking into consideration the sign yet. Full moons, and I would imagine blue moons, maybe the energy is even a little higher in this regard. The moon is connected to our emotions. And even in the symbolism of astrology, working, at least from the evolutionary perspective, working with the moon in your life, it's really helpful for you to know your moon sign and the house that your moon is in your birth chart, because understanding those potentials in your life gives us clue on how to maintain your heart happiness, emotional well-being. So even the archetypal field astrologically, moon is connected to heart. The literal moon affects our emotions. This has been proven time and time again. It's well known, All the policemen on the planet know crime spikes quite a lot during full moons. Okay, teachers all over the planet knows that their students are more rambunctious during full moons because it has that effect on our emotional field. And I think I know why. Go off on a little side tangent here, but what I've learned in my studies from schools of mysticism in different cultures around the world is that basically we have 3 different bodies. Bear with me here. But we have our physical body. Here it is, all these tissues. This is in the 3rd dimension of reality, the densest one there is. And then we have our 4th dimensional body, which is our body of emotions and sentiments and desires, which exists on the 4th dimension. Okay. And then we also have the 5th dimensional body, which is the dimension of thoughts and intentions. Okay. And they interpenetrate and coexist with each other. These 3 bodies create the vehicle for our souls having this temporary experience here in this dimension, ultimately so we can learn. And of course, we can tie in the astrology. That's really my goal here as I continue to evolve in my practice, is to continue to marry these concepts of mysticism and astrology and integrate them more deeply. Hence why I do guided meditations at the end as well. But that understanding of the vehicle of the soul having 3 different dimensional bodies, as above, so below, the planets as well have 3 bodies. The physical, here we are, I'm sitting on Earth right here, the physical body of Earth. Earth has a 4th dimensional body, which extends out, further, and even thousands of miles around the Earth. And then they have the 5th dimensional body, which extends way, way out. And all the planets' 5th dimensional bodies are overlapping with each other and interpenetrate. That's how far they extend outward. Hence why the planetary archetypal energies of those planets affect us here on planet Earth, is basically because the 5th dimensional bodies are swimming with each other. But the 4th dimensional aren't with the other planets, because the 4th dimensional body doesn't extend out that far, but the moon does. The moon is within those, thousands of miles. And the moon's 4th dimensional body and Earth's 4th dimensional body are working with each other. Hence why I believe the moon affects our emotions. And probably a lot of you are like, what? That's my working theory anyways, based on what I've learned in mysticism, and gives me a way to wrap my head around, okay, why first of all, the other planets affect us in certain ways, and why does the moon has this very specific effect on us? And it's really how far out our fields reach, whether it's a planetary field or our own human field. So anyway, kind of got way off topic there. Hope I didn't lose you. But emotions are on high now, is the moral of the tale. Okay, full moon. And all this cardinal energy rushing out. Uranus on the moon, the great disruptor. We're feeling disruptive emotions. People are going to act a bit weird, a bit strange, and it's Halloween to boot. Now, words like weird and strange, only hold power in the eyes of certain beholders, meaning the mainstream. It's like whenever culture, society, even family has an expectation about what is proper behavior, anytime somebody steps out of what's deemed okay by the mainstream, oh, that's weird, that's strange. So people are going to be stepping out of what is believed to be what's agreed upon as normal. Okay, disruptive emotions, people acting a little crazy. Okay, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It'll be interesting to see. And we got to remember that these lunation cycles, whether it's a full moon or a new moon, this energy really extends out over the next 2 weeks as this energy unfolds. So it hits the height at the actual event, the full moon or the new moon, but then it extends outward like a wave. And this disruptive, high emotional, cardinal energy is pushing out over the next couple of weeks, which just so happens to coincide with the election in the United States. And, I know I'm talking to people from all over the world. I don't mean to center this around the U.S., but hey, it's something, near and dear to my heart because that's where I'm from. So, I'm, interested to see what happens. But, it's not going to be normal because Uranus is always about stepping outside of what is normal. It's also important to point out, we'll talk about the high end intention of Taurus and then coupled with Uranus. But what's the low end with Taurus? We're going to see a lot of that with the greater malefics in a square, all this tension. What's the shadow side of Taurus? Taurus, the bull. That's the main archetype. It's just, the bull is a male cow. So, Taurus, the animal. And if you read about, Taurus on any pop astrology website, it's like, what does Taurus mean? It's like within the first couple lines, oh, you're a Taurus, you're stubborn, And of course, that style of astrology is pretty silly. But that is a quality of character somewhat connected to Taurus, but it's not the healthy manifestation of Taurus, okay? That stubbornness only arises from the understanding of we talked about cardinal signs, for example. Well, Taurus is a fixed sign. And its blinders, I guess you could say, is fixity energy. Too much focused on stability, okay, on the status quo, on keeping the norm, on that solidarity, on that simplicity. Let's keep things normal here. Uranus, meanwhile, is like, let's get wild, okay? Screw normal, let's move beyond that. Let's evolve. Uranus always wants us to evolve. Taurus, meanwhile, wants to keep 2 feet on the ground. It can become uncomfortable with that rapid lightning bolt moment of disruption. So it can grow this stubbornness in terms of a fixation, a refusal to adapt, basically. And the overarching theme of the energy now, if we start to tie in the nodes of the moon, which I've talked a lot about in previous videos, basically we're in a war of ideology, of religions, in the broad sense of that word. Whatever we believe the truth to be. And there's that polarity, multiple sides pitted against each other in this year where things just falling apart, okay? Now, the stubbornness manifesting as these ideologies. It's like, no, this is the one true way. This is reality. And of course, they're fighting other people who are saying, this is reality. Okay, so there's that stubbornness manifesting there. Meanwhile, the ground is very unstable. Okay, very shaky, earthquakey ground. So what do we do with this energy? As always, free will trumps all here on planet Earth, the school of hard knocks. So we can work with this energy in a less evolved way, or we can work with it in a more evolved way and strive for the highest potential of the symbolism. Now, how we can turn awry is get just caught up in the insanity of it all, or we get caught up in the righteous indignation of our belief systems and just trying to catapult that towards other people and break down their walls. And it just stems from a flawed, egoic expression of our human personality that stems from fear, from competition. Sure, there's plenty to be angry about. I'm not trying to minimize that, but putting that fear-based, low consciousness set of emotions, projecting that outwards will only create more fear, more anger. Like attracts like. Us as souls incarnate in these, 3 bodies, this vehicle for our soul, as I said before, we have superpowers. We have no idea how strong we are, because where we focus our consciousness, where we focus our intention, whatever that is that we're focusing on, only grows stronger. So if we grow on more evolved, all emotions that stem from love and light and reason, okay, and peace is going to be a key word here, as we'll see. That is how we work with the energy, and we take that cardinal energy and we activate it in a way that betters not only ourselves, reduces our stress, causes more peace within ourselves, helps us to raise our own consciousness, but of course that has an effect on other people. If you're walking around with toxicity, people feel that too. But they also feel, it's like sometimes if you sit at the feet of a guru or somebody who's really evolved, it's like you can feel that energy, that luminosity, that brightness that they have. It's like palpable, and it rubs off on you, It has effect on other people. Okay, so all energy affects other energy, and they create these group energies together. So allow me to recommend not going towards the dark side of the force and getting caught up in the insanity, okay? But what do we do? What's the high end? Well, easily the biggest theme here, we'll tie in Uranus in a bit, but the biggest theme here is the planet that rules Taurus, Venus, yeah? Always want to take into consideration the planetary ruler. It rules the sign of the full moon, and as I said at the beginning, it's also in the sign of Libra right now, that cardinal sign. Venus rules Libra. It's in its own sign, supercharged. It's the focalizer in the sky. And what's interesting about that, some astrologers might disagree with me, because it's not really interacting with any other planet. Venus is kind of just minding its own business up there in the sky, just being beautiful and oblivious, but it is very strong because it's in its own sign and it rules the full moon. So we always got to take it into consideration. So I consider it a focalizer here. Venus, the goddess of peace, love, and tranquility. And I believe this was the main evolutionary intention of the last video as well. Okay? This is all about peace, stimulating more peace within, attempting to make a peace treaty with chaos, attempting to be the eye within the storm. We're in this very chaotic environment, but if somehow we can stay in the center of the Taurus, that's interesting. I just watched the movie Thrive 2. I recommend anybody who is interested in astrology or anything metaphysical, check out Thrive 2. It just came out, I think, a couple weeks ago. And in that movie and in Thrive 1 that came out about 10 years ago, he talks about the toroidal field, which looks like an energy field like a donut. And we have them around our body, and the top comes in through the crown chakra, the bottom comes in through the root chakra. But all of life is based on this Taurus field, toroidal field. Here we have full moon in Taurus, so that's just kind of an interesting synchronicity there as I'm riffing. But we want to tap into that still point within the chaos. And what's helpful is for us to do that in very Taurus ways. Taurus basically reminds us of the things we've always known, okay? That the simple things are the important things, like touch, enough rest, good food, getting out into nature, listening to the birds chirping, just breathing in, breathing out, bringing your conscious awareness into your body. If I'm remembering correctly, that's one of the core teachings, or at least suggestions from Eckhart Tolle, what he suggested is, because his teaching is basically the power of now, be in the present moment. And that was one way he discussed, or a method you could leverage to help you to do that. It's like, bring your conscious awareness down into the trunk of your body. Just remember you're in your body. Don't become this disembodied head. It's like something happens. You just breathe in, you focus on your body, okay? All the charged thoughts and emotions you may be feeling, if you do that for 3 to 5 minutes, they just seem to melt. They just seem to relax. You can enter into that peacefulness simply by focusing on your body. Taurus is the most sensual of all the signs, which basically means of the senses. Okay, so live through the 5 senses as much as you can. That's why I recommended, touch, give a massage, receive a massage. Listen to music. Taurus is the sign of the musician. And these are ways, very Taurus ways, where you can find pockets of peace. And we need to punctuate this time with pockets of peace because we're not in a very peaceful environment, at least when we consider the whole of things. Now, I'm calling this video New Earth. Okay, obviously on this full moon, there isn't going to be a new Earth. That wasn't some crazy prediction. Okay. But when I think of the grandest evolutionary intentions for humanity as a whole, as we're experiencing this great awakening, as things are crumbling, we're evolving into a new way of being. Perfect time to discuss Uranus a little bit more, okay? Disruptive Uranus. Everything has an evolutionary intention, whether the energy is uncomfortable or comfortable. This tends to be a little bit more uncomfortable. But the evolutionary intention is Uranus is really the engine that drives social change. It's about evolution. It's about innovation. It's about technology. And of course, Uranus rules the sign Aquarius. I believe we've entered into the Aquarian age, which is a rapid acceleration in our evolution, especially technologically speaking. And now I can circle back to that movie, actually, that I just mentioned when I was talking about the toroidal field, Thrive 2. In that movie, it's very interesting. He went to places all over the world, and he found people who have already created free energy devices that tap into the 0-point field and that can charge like 300 homes or whatever for free, just out of air. One of them utilizes radio waves, and I don't remember all the specifics of it, but it's pretty miraculous to see in this documentary. So we already have the technology. People have stumbled upon it, for quite some time now, all the way back to like Nikola Tesla. But it's been suppressed, continually suppressed by the power structures, by the powerful elite, because if we have free energy, they'll no longer be able to make money through, oil and pharmaceuticals. Health is part of it too. By the way, in the movie, they find health practitioners who have cured cancer, for example, and they show that. So we've had tremendous leaps forward in our technological understanding of health, okay, as well as energy, and they all are connected to the same thing, frequency and resonance, okay? That's really the message of that movie. And we're headed towards that. The things are falling apart in 2020, coming apart at the seams. After the dust settles, the stranglehold of control will loosen, and I believe these technologies will be released on a wide scale, and I believe this is what it means to fully enter into this Aquarian age, and from there, really, there's just an explosion of what we can, there's no limits to how far we can take this, and I'm very, very excited. But on the road to that, it's been a bumpy road. And we're going to see this information start to come out that's very shocking, okay? Really over the next year as the North Node's in Gemini. Again, I've talked about that in previous videos. So we're going to see these disclosures, if you will, if that's a word you're comfortable with. And then really this is going to start to take off when Pluto leaves Capricorn, enters Aquarius in 2024. So, but this is the tipping point, 2020, especially right now. We're evolving into a new Earth. And the more amazing, or let's put it this way, How amazing that will be is dependent on where we're at now and the conscious decisions we make now, leveraging the superpower that is our focused intent and free will to constantly strive for emotions and thoughts out of our fourth dimensional and fifth dimensional bodies that are in alignment with love, peace, connection, harmony, okay? And try to do everything we can to not think negative emotions and thoughts, because that will only fuel that fire, because we as humanity are trying to evolve rapidly. And that's the core evolutionary intention, with the goal always being to expand our consciousness. And with that being said, as usual, let's transition right into the meditation. And for those of you who haven't experienced this before, I recommend using headphones for best results, because I use a technology called binaural beats that will help you to sink into meditation more deeply. Enjoy. Sit in a nice, comfortable position with a straight spine. And simply begin inhaling deep into your belly, and then exhaling from your belly. Breathe in, breathe out. Nice, slow, rhythmic breathing. Getting into the natural rhythms of the body. Bringing your conscious awareness into the core center of your body through the breath, entering into the silence through the breath. Even breaths, about 4 or 6 seconds per inhale and 4 or 6 seconds per exhale. No pause between the in-breath and the out-breath. Natural breathing. Tapping into the natural rhythms of life. Now bring your awareness to your stomach area and just feel like you're in your stomach. Focusing all your awareness in that area. And just feeling your stomach expand as you inhale and contract as you exhale. And begin to visualize a sky blue nebula in your stomach. Visualize this color with as much clarity and attention as you can. And you begin to notice that the nebula grows brighter and brighter with every inhale. Becomes stronger, more luminescent with every breath. You can even begin to feel the energy in your stomach if you concentrate hard enough. And the sky blue color shines out in every direction. You see it grow brighter as you inhale, and as you exhale, feel all the stress leave your body. Now bring your awareness to your chest center and visualize a white rose pinkish color in and around your chest. A beautiful pink nebula in your entire chest cavity. Feel all your emotions begin to soften. You become calmer, and you see this pink color grow brighter and brighter with every inhale. And take this moment to feel feelings of self-love and compassion for yourself in this journey, this incarnation. Recognize how far you've come and how well you're doing. And take a moment to honor the fact that you're a soul incarnate. Wow. Move your attention up to your head center now and visualize a white gold nebula in and around your head. And the brighter the color becomes, the softer your thoughts and intentions are, and the more deeply you connect yourself to your creative potential. Grows brighter as you inhale, and the gold color ripples out in all directions as you exhale. And now let's tap into this Taurus energy within you. Visualize yourself sitting near a meadow on a beautiful spring afternoon. And imagine your hands are holding a small swallow and allow it to take flight. Watch it as it flutters over the meadow and settles on a branch of an apple tree covered with delicate young blossoms. See in the distance, against the deep blue sky, a large ivory white eagle soar through the air. The eagle dips and rises with just a tip of his wings. He's riding on the air currents. Now study the rich meadow before you. Many are the smells re-emerging after a long winter. The thawing ground is moist and the air is still cool. And see a cow grazing down near the pond as she enjoys the new grass after eating dry hay all winter. What color is this cow? Brown and white? Black, maybe? You decide. You can trace a small brook flowing out of the pond. Dragonflies dart about the rain-swollen stream. What a lovely, calming sound running water makes. Up on the far side of the pond is a flock of sheep and lamb. Count them. How many do you see? A shepherd watches over his flock. He is leaning on a crook, enjoying the warm sun as his sheepdog sits beside him. You can hear the bells of the sheep ring as they move through the grass. The baby lambs are skipping and playing with each other. Now stroll into this meadow. Notice the yellow daffodils are scattered here and there. Move where you wish. Your swallow is flying about and lands near the pond.
The eagle soars overhead, and the sheep startle slightly as they see you approach. Notice how the soft ground sinks in as you take each step. Feel the moisture soak into your shoes. The air is damp and fresh. The cow stares at you for a second and then continues to eat. Go up to her and feel her soft coat. She really likes it when you scratch her behind the ears. You see serenity and harmony everywhere as you look over your meadow. This is a center of calm and peace which you can visit and take solace anytime you wish. And wish harmony and peace of this meadow to spread all over Earth in the material plane. Now leave your meadow and return to body-centered awareness. And begin to expand your consciousness in every direction out from where you're sitting now. And it passes out of the building that you're in, above the trees, like a growing bubble, until you can see the town in which you live. A lovely rose light pours out from your heart, blanketing first your neighbor's home, and then the whole neighborhood, and finally the entire town. You feel joy. You continue to expand to the point where you can see the entire nation. Perhaps there's trouble in some parts of it. Your heart continues to pour out love for all. Your whole country is now covered in this pink light. Next, spread your awareness to encompass first the cloud cover and then the atmosphere. And now you can see the whole planet. A gorgeous paradise of deep blue oceans, vast mountain ranges, and lush plains. But you know there is fighting in various parts of the world. Great unhappiness, and you want to help. From your vantage point, there are no borders marked, no separation. It's one world. All trouble is born out of ignorance and misunderstanding. We want to love one another and live in peace. Now from your heart, see a river of rose light, which floods the entire globe with peace and love. You begin to see millions of smiling faces bathed in the rose light. You see men laying down their arms and embracing one another in common brotherhood. You see people giving food and clothes to others in need. Everybody begins to feel peace. Now see the planet move towards you and nestle in your heart. Moments ago, you were on the planet and now it's in you. Keep the planet in your heart. Now spread your awareness throughout your entire body. Feel every cell in your body fuse with these lights that you visualized. And bring in the luminosity, the glow. And begin to bring your awareness back to the room. You can begin to move your fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes.